Yo, my name is Vances, and I made this channel kind of just to let out some of my thoughts and some of my worries. I don't really know if anyone's going to watch this, but I figured that this is the best way for me to keep tabs on how I'm thinking now, and hopefully, over the next few years, things kind of stable out the way I want them to. But at the current moment, I have a lot on my plate and a lot that I'm thinking about, especially in this from a computer science perspective, such that I think it's a little bit important to actually make a video about it and, you know, document what I'm actually feeling at this point so I can look back on it and hopefully be happy about where I'm at this after I rewatch this. I remember being touring schools in the country, and I didn't tour that many, but I toured a couple. I toured about four colleges before I ended up at the one I'm currently at. And the amount of times that I heard, or I would ask, I would say to the professor who was giving me the tour of the CS department, I would ask them, "Hey, how's the job market? How often can you get a decent paying job after college? What does it look like to get that?" And they would tell me, "We could get you one now if you wanted to, straight out of high school." And to a certain extent, I think they weren't lying to me. At least I don't think they were. I don't think they had a reason to really be facetious towards me. But now, looking at the market, especially for CS, it is really, really disheartening compared to what my friends and family have gone through. I have a close family member who's in CS, who's still in CS actually, and the amount of work that he had to do in extracurriculars and whatnot to get a decent paying job. And I'm talking when I say decent paying, I mean 80K out of college is what I was told, and then 100K now, 2 years out, which is something I would be more than happy with. Um, he did not do many extracurriculars, kind of just skid by right around, I would say, maybe 3.5 GPA, which is where I'm at as well. I'm a little bit higher than that, but I don't really think that's much importance, to be honest. And I'm in the spot where it seems like there's just no one hiring for entry level positions right now, which is not fun, especially when I'm looking at my future and how deep I am into this whole computer science thing. It seems like I am doing everything that I possibly can on campus and getting involved and having extracurriculars just for my resume, and none of it matters. Not a single portion of it actually means anything. It seems like everyone else is doing the exact same stuff and they're still not being hired. The amount of times I hear from people who I think are much smarter than me and more qualified than me, and they're doing similar things to I'm doing, and they're still not being hired, it's it's really, really kind of terrifying, to be honest. I made this channel initially a while back, just to kind of have some thoughts for myself and be able to look back and hopefully be happy about where I'm at in the future. But I don't know. I started to think about what that looks like, and I can't lie. It's looking bleak, especially since the job market has dried up to such an extent where I remember looking at the career fair for my specific college, and for those who don't know what a career fair is, it's basically a event where a bunch of employers come to talk to potential students they want to hire after they're done with their college experience. It's mostly internships, but you can find some full-time jobs there if you're a senior. You don't have to be a senior, but that's usually what they're looking for. But this year, they do most of the engineering majors all together at my college. Engineering is part of, or computer science is part of engineering. And when I was looking at the sheet for companies that were interested in hiring people for computer science, out of about 96 attending companies, there were three. So I don't. It's one of those things where if you don't laugh, you're gonna cry. So the only thing you really can do is keep pushing forward. Another thing that I've thought to myself as well is, should I change majors? Because electrical engineering doesn't seem to be going anywhere, at least from the people that I talk to and from the stats that I see through career fairs and other just events that I see where people are looking to talk to in electrical engineering majors and get the best hires and get the newest and the best students from the university. it seems like those events aren't going anywhere, especially since I see them all over the campus. But for CS, it just seems like, especially in my recent era, or in the area that I live in, if you're not getting something that's with Amazon or any of the big tech companies, it's almost completely out of reach. You might as well be doing something completely different than doing CS. And I've played with the idea of switching majors, but I just feel like I'm so deep into this now that there's not really much turning around, so what's the point of really even turning around and trying to change my major if not only I'm so deep monetarily into the CS department, but I'm also just so engaged with it, and it's the one thing that I think about a lot of the time. It's just unreal. I was actually inspired to make this video by a different video I saw on YouTube, I think it was about a week ago, by a different creator. I think his name was Henny something. And he was talking about how he's out of college and he still can't find anything, which is kind of funny because I feel like I'm already screwed and I'm not even out of college yet, so that does not bode well for my future. But the one thing I was going to say is that I feel like his and my scenario are fairly similar. The only thing that I would say that's a bit different is that the circumstances are a bit different. He didn't do any internships in college, which is what I gained from that video, but from what I gather from the people that I talked to, as well as the career fairs and employers that I've spoken to, there aren't really any internships available right now. All of them are being replaced by AI, which is extraordinarily disappointing. The other thing I'll say is that I know that people, if this does get any kind of traction or views at all, will probably say that there's people who are more screwed than me, which is totally true. I mean, I can't even imagine being someone who's either an art major or just someone who's just in the art field in general. Someone who draws, for example, or makes animations. The amount of time and dedication and creativity that requires just for that kind of thing to just be stripped from you by a program that recreates other people's kind of drawings or animation styles or whatnot, or art styles, is just, I don't know. It would rip my heart out to be in that kind of situation. So I definitely feel for other people, but I don't know the space that well enough to speak on if jobs like in that kind of field are actually being taken up or not. The only thing that I can speak on is CS, because I'm actively in that niche, which is depressing, because if I feel screwed and people are having their livelihoods taken away by AI already, it's infinitely worse for them. And the only thing that I can do is complain about the fact that there's no entry-level positions for me. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say, to be honest. I feel like I've done pretty much everything I can to make myself as appealing as possible, and it's not even, and when I say appealing, I mean in the sense of as a candidate for each internship that I apply to, and it seems like it just doesn't matter at all. I know people, I've talked to people who are already in the space, and how they got their first foot in the door was they had a bunch of projects done. And I'm working on a bunch of projects myself, ones that were school related and non-school related, but it just doesn't seem like it matters much. The only thing that really matters is how well you can work with AI. If you're not working in AI in the computer engineering or like computer science space, you might as well not even be trying. It just seems like AI is not only going to take your job, but the only way to actually get a job around that sphere is to instead just submit to AI and focus everything in your life on it, which is not very fun. It's like feeding the beast that's going to eventually kill you, right? I don't even know if that was a good analogy, but I don't know. It just seems like this vicious cycle where every time you apply for something, they require, some kind of ridiculous amount of hours or years in the space, and then you have to tell them, hey, I have no experience in this space because no one's hiring for these entry-level positions. But at the same time, those entry-level positions now require you to have so-and-so amount of years of experience in the computer science and programming space. So it's this catch-22 where you need the practice and the experience in the job space to actually be able to get the job, but you can't get the job without having the experience. But the experience you will gain from the job is what will get you the job. So there's just no way to go forward, and you're just stuck in this endless loop of hell. I don't know. Just a bit frustrating. The other thing I'll say is that, especially in the realm of CS, it just seems so depressing. Like, everyone in CS that I talk to is just all the time just tells me, like, hey, man, I just can't find anything, especially with the people that I talk to. Even, I think it's gotten so bad, even to the point where the university, I think, is worried that people are going to start dropping CS just as a whole. And they're starting to have professors give arguments as to why this job market is not worrisome. Even though I'm pretty sure everyone knows that's completely utter nonsense, but they try to convince you that it's not so bad. Even though it really is. I don't know. I think it's mostly because they want to keep your money, but from how I gather it, they already have my money, so there's not much I can really do about it. Another funny thing that happened to me before I got to college was I remember touring with the guy that showed me the CS department at my university, and the guy was telling me that the job market for CS was so good the year that I came in that people were quitting the college and not finishing their education, which is totally fair, but they weren't even finishing their education and were instead just ditching college to go instead to work get the industry and get experience, which now looking back on it is actually really smart. Because the people who have that experience now in those entry-level positions likely can go back to college, finish their degree, and then move on with their life because they already have the experience that other people won't be able to get, since those entry-level positions are just completely gone now. So, looking back on it, that guy, I think he's intelligent, but I don't think anyone really could have seen the damage that AI would have done to CS as a profession. But what can you do? It just feels a little bit hopeless in the end, is I guess the conclusion that I want to come to with this video. I'm hoping that, like I said, I'm hoping that at some point I'll be able to come back to this video and, you know, see how much better it's gotten and see how silly I looked, that this was kind of a worry that I had, to be honest. And hopefully at that point something will happen where life will get a lot better, but at the current moment I feel like I'm just absolutely overwhelmed, and I am doing the most that I can, and it's still just not even close to enough to actually get these positions, even though the people who got these positions not even a year ago or 2 years ago were much less qualified than I am. But I just got absolutely shafted by the worst timing imaginable. And the other thing that I'll say is that I've been saying a lot of me, which I think might sound selfish, but I think that this story is very representative of how most computer science majors feel, or the experience that they have currently. I think that's evidenced by the fact that this video by this Henny guy that I watched was so popular. I think the video had like something like 1 million likes, which was just kind of absurd, to be honest. And the amount of comments saying, you know, you're not alone. This is just kind of how it goes. This is the catch-22 that you're gonna have to deal with. Once you get your foot in the door, though, you'll be fine. It's also a bit hard to say that, since in the video he explained that he's applied to maybe 1,000 different programs and jobs and heard nothing. So I think that return rate of 1,000 to next to 0, I would assume, is very disheartening. That's all I really want to talk about, to be honest, with this video. I might make more videos in the future about other things that are bothering me, or things in my life that I think are screwed up that I wish would change. I just needed somewhere to talk about it that's fairly anonymous, that I could also come back to and have people either share their stories or, you know, have someone feel like someone's in the same boat as them, and that it's not completely doomed for everyone, even though it's damn near fails that way, I'll tell you that for sure. There's just not much you can really do. But yeah, I doubt anyone will see this, but if they do, it's been Vance's. Thank you for watching.